first saw it, it was not looking directly, I don't think, at me. And the commotion of trying to get the camera out of the saddlebags while his horse was jumping around. I was watching the creature and it was walking away. But I could see the face real good, and I could see the eyes. By the time we got the horses kind of settled down and Roger got off with the camera, ran across the creek, and Roger had the camera to his eye. Then he stumbled kind of and fell down on his knees, and then he got back up and he ran over to a log that was a little ways away and stabilized himself on the log. At that time, I rode across the creek on my horse and just sat over there. The creature makes a turn, slight turn with its shoulders and kind of looks back. That's when I rode across the creek on the horse. That's when it made that gesture. I was looking at it from the back. There were some trees or vegetation that was getting between Roger and the creature, and he wanted to get him. So he relocated, and when he did, he asked me if I would cover him, which meant get the rifle and see. There was no intent to shoot this thing at all. The creature just kept right on walking, and of course it went out of sight.
I ain't sure what I got. I ran out of film.
But the chase didn't end there. Patterson and Gimlin tracked the creature up the creek bed for miles.
And I kind of wanted to follow it on the horse and put film back in the camera. Then we went on and went the same direction that the creature went. We could see scuffs in the gravel. And then it went right up into the cliffs. There was no way you could ride there, steep mountain cliffs.
Over 3 decades have gone by since that day. I want to know if the latest in forensic technology can shed new light on something that happened so long ago.
This right here is Bluff Creek, and this is approximately where Roger started shooting the film subject.
The evidence will be put to the test when Mysterious Encounters returns.
About frame 1, just before, as we start to see it.
Even though we had put some time in there, but we were extremely lucky.
The Encounters team has come to Bluff Creek, California, about 100 miles north of Eureka, to investigate firsthand the famous site of the Patterson-Gimlin footage, and to meet the ultimate witness, a man who was there, Bob Gimlin.
Roger contacted me and wanted me to bring him and come down here. And so I couldn't do that right away. So I had a little ranch up there and had a few head of cattle, and so I had to get somebody to take care of them. So I did, and by the time we left up there, it was the last part of September.
For 7 days, they saw nothing. All that changed on October 20th.
What Patterson and Gimlin saw and filmed that day has raised as many questions as answers. Reconstructing a 3-dimensional image of the creature's face and body, as well as the film site, may give us a better understanding of what happened.
Looking at this face as an animator and an artist, there's nothing really over the top about the features of it, and it doesn't really look like anybody had just, made it up. Pete Travers took this piece of footage and put it on a light table with backlit, and then actually sketched over it to work out some of the finer details here in the hair and the eyes. As you can see, it's a little bit more human-like and less monster-like without the facial hair, less of a monster.
Wow. It's not an animal, it's a human. It's some form of a human. I think it's really hard for the general public to fathom that there could be a creature out here that's not been discovered here in North America and in other countries, because we have this kind of feeling that we have the entire world figured out. It doesn't look like a monster. It doesn't look like a figment of someone's imagination. Over the years, interest in studying the creature's face may have distracted researchers from an even more important clue within these same frames.
In May of 2000, video expert and wildlife researcher Doug Hychek transferred the original film to high-definition television for added resolution. High-Check spotted a large lump on the creature's leg that had gone unnoticed.
After literally hundreds of hours of studying the Patterson footage, I noticed a bulge on the upper right quadriceps. I'm not a biomechanics expert, so I've sent it off to other biomechanics experts to look at. It's probably either some kind of morphology or pathology, meaning an injury. It looks suspiciously like a hernia. And as I loop the footage back and forth, I can see this bulge pop out and then disappear and go flat when the leg is straight.
Was it an injury or something else?
Here would be the quadriceps. It looks more like a well-developed muscle. And given the fact that we don't see a lot of knee locking, you would need these muscles. There's going to be a point in time during a gait where the left or the right leg supports the complete weight of the animal.
Ruben Steindorf, a forensic animator with Vision Realm, has been given the task of recreating not just the face of the creature, but the entire Bluff Creek scene in a 3D virtual matrix.
Now that we recreated this film subject, I'm now going to create the environment in which the subject moves across in, and I have a detailed map here of the path that it takes. We're finally going to be able to see what went down from any angle in this environment.
The fascinating reconstruction later in the show.
You'll actually be able to see Roger and Bob coming around a bend when they first see the film subject. Right here is the log. It's where the creature actually turned and looked right at us.
I still, in my mind, know exactly how this film site looked then. And I'm probably going to be a little bit disappointed tomorrow when I go there, because grow up, and I know things have to change. The memory of it, what it was and how it walked and where it was at that time, it won't ever leave me.
It's in your memory. It's in your brain like it is in no one else's since Roger passed. You're the last person who has that.
That's true.
Gimlin has never returned to the original film site until now.
We came in down through Happy Camp and that way. And I pulled as much bark off those trees as I could and covered those tracks.
At a location called Bluff Creek for signs of a reported Bigfoot creature. For 7 days, they saw nothing.
Oh my God!
All that changed on October 20th. The Encounters team has come to investigate firsthand the famous site of the Patterson-Gimlin footage. And to meet the ultimate witness, a man who was there, Bob Gimlin.
I was kind of disappointed in the original film because I thought, well, it should have been able to get more than that. But then I took into consideration, I didn't have nothing to do with cameras or anything. I thought, well, you know, Roger was running part of the time, and he was trying to relocate part of the time, and these things happen so rapidly, it was just like happening like, you know, heartbeats.
Bob Gimlin, who has never returned since that fateful day, is about to take a long-awaited hike down memory lane.
I'm probably going to be a little bit disappointed when I go there, and I know things have to change.
Could be this one 30 years ago that's dead now. It's the same height as the boulder.
Everything has changed.
Are we going too fast? That's about the size of the log would have been. And then the log he stabilized himself on was about like where that stump is there. It's hard for me to really identify the exact spot.
So it's got to be down there.
I think we've hit Scorpion
No,
Creek.
we haven't yet. It's quite a ways up.
Well, there's a big old stump over there. Really a eerie looking place.
That tree is right in the middle of that rock.
This whole sandbar right here would have been open.
Roger fell off. And this is the film site right over here.
It's a downed tree right there.
I think that's the tree, guys. Awfully close. Well, it was this type of soil.
This is the spot.
Well, it's got to be. Of course, the creek would have been way over there.
The exact film site location is as elusive as the creature itself.
We're ready to leave.
We don't want to get caught in Bluff Creek in the dirt.
Let's go. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We don't want to do that.
While the Bluff Creek site may not yield any new clues, can 21st century forensics? Ruben Steindorf of Vision Realm Animation has completed his 3D recreation.
This amazing 3D animation will be further detailed and then rendered with many different camera angles, giving clues to the creature's reaction, behavior, and gait.
Dr. Jürgen Kunzak, Associate Professor of Biomechanics at the University of Minnesota, has been asked to examine the unusual gait of the Patterson creature.
Looking closer at this Patterson footage, I think we can conclude that this type of gait clearly has some peculiarities, features, the lifting of the legs, the outward rotation of the knees and of the hips that make it peculiar. The gait does look different than a human gait, there's no doubt about it.
Dr. Jeff Meldrum, Associate Professor of Anatomy and Anthropology at Idaho State University, examined the overall physiology of the Bluff Creek creature.
There are a number of features of the pattern of the gait and movement of the subject of the Patterson-Gimlin film that speak to its authenticity. Features that include a sort of a wall-eyed carriage of the knee and leg that, combined with a high-stepping gait, allow this relatively long foot to clear the ground. All these aspects, combined with the apparent anatomy, suggest that this is much more than simply a man in a fursuit.
I'd say if you're out there looking for them, use a lot of common sense and try not to destroy them.
Good advice coming from a man who has done what so many others have tried and failed. Meeting Bob Gimlin face to face, seeing the conviction in his eyes, conviction that is mirrored in the eyes of similar witnesses all across the country, leads me to believe that there really is something to all these mysterious encounters.
Up until his death, Roger Patterson, who had received small royalties from the film, and Bob Gimlin, who had not profited from it, always agreed that what they saw and filmed was a genuine Bigfoot creature. No firm evidence yet has surfaced to cast doubt on this truly amazing film.